Fellow Ghanaians, good morning and welcome to a new week. So when the framers of our constitution created Parliament, what they intended it to be was the living heart of our democracy. It was to be a place where the people's business would be conducted with diligence, accountability, and seriousness of purpose. Parliament was meant to embody the hopes and frustrations and aspirations of this country, to be an arena where national priorities were debated, the laws were refined, and governments were held to account. But today, if you walk into that august chamber on most working days, what will greet you is not a vibrant democracy. It's an empty hall, a hollow echo of what Parliament was actually meant to be. Attendance in the 9th Parliament has been abysmal. Apart from the 9 members of Parliament were sworn in, or the rare ceremonial occasions such as the President's State of the Nation address, or the presentation of the budget or media review, the Chamber of Parliament rarely fills up. Most days, the rows of seats are empty. The Speaker presides over half-full sessions, and important motions are moved and debated before a scattering of members of Parliament. For a body that prides itself as the legislative soul of this republic, this absenteeism is a profound embarrassment. So poor has attendance been that the House was forced to start sitting at 2 p.m. It was a desperate attempt to accommodate MPs' so-called morning engagements. But even that hasn't worked. Attendance remains pitiful. Now the leadership of the House is considering reverting to the traditional 10 a.m. sittings, as if the problem was a matter of scheduling rather than responsibility. Alban Bagbe last week openly said that Ghanaians are angry, and he is right. The Speaker has warned that MPs who continue to absent themselves without permission risk having their seats declared vacant. But we have heard such warnings before. Whether he will act this time, or whether this too will become another hollow declaration of constitutional fidelity, will be seen. Our Constitution is clear in Article 97(1)(c). It provides that a member of Parliament shall vacate their seats if they are absent from a sitting or a meeting of Parliament 15 sittings without the written permission of the Speaker, and are unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges. This is a very clear law. It is not ambiguous. But in practice, this too has become a dead letter, a constitutional ornament that no one has dared to apply. We have seen this before. A few years ago, this country was rocked with controversy when the then MP for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Joasafo, for months was nowhere to be found. She left her parliamentary duties and went abroad, reportedly to attend to personal matters. The Privileges Committee summoned her to appear before and explain her absence. She didn't attend. The matter became a national scandal. In fact, at the time, she was a minister. The Speaker and leadership of Parliament promised to apply the Constitution, but in the end, nothing happened. Her seat was never declared vacant. She returned to take a seat until she was booted out of the House. It did not end there. 2 other MPs, Kennedy Ejapon and Henry Korte, who were also in the 8th Parliament, were also referred to the Privileges Committee for missing so many sittings without permission. They appeared before the committee, they rendered their explanations, the reports were written, and the whole matter quietly died. The rule of law once again gave way to political expediency. This is why the warnings from the Speaker ring hollow in the ears of many Ghanaians. We have seen too many warnings, too many promises, too many moments of moral outrage that end in political compromise. It is one thing to threaten, it is another to act. And so Parliament continues to sit half empty while MPs draw full salaries, enjoy all their benefits, and then turn around, some of them, to lecture this public, you and I, about patriotism and sacrifice. How can we expect citizens to take Parliament serious when Parliament itself does not take itself serious? How can we demand that teachers, nurses, and civil servants show up for work on time when lawmakers who write these laws that govern our own conduct are routinely absent themselves without any consequence? Fellow Ghanaians, leadership has never been about words. It's about example. A Parliament that does not work cannot hold an executive that does not perform accountable. The irony is painful. In a country where millions of young people are desperate for jobs, where professionals are underpaid and overworked, the very people paid by you and I, the taxpayer, to represent our interests, choose routinely to stay away from the one place where their presence matters the most. The Ghanaian taxpayer pays MPs handsomely, basic salary, sitting allowance, car loans, accommodation, fuel, medical, ex gratia, all in the name of public service. Yet when it is time to show up in the chamber, most of them vanish like the morning dew. When the House sits to debate the budget or consider important bills that affects the lives of ordinary Ghanaians, attendance should be a civic duty. Instead, MPs often show up only when their personal interest or those of their parties are at stake. When the issue is salary adjustments, some allowances or fuel coupons, attendance is always miraculously very high, always in closed doors. But when it's about sanitation, healthcare, galamsey, education, or any of the important national issues, the chamber echoes with emptiness. This is not a partisan problem. It is a national disgrace. And both the NDC and MPP have had their turn at this misconduct. Both sides have shown that they are willing to violate the law when it suits them and look the other way when the violation comes from within their own ranks. The collective indiscipline this is becoming has become an accepted tradition, one that mocks the very spirit of representation and accountability. In other jurisdictions, parliamentary attendance is tracked and published in real time. MPs who miss sittings without justification lose their benefits or even suspension. In Kenya, right here on this continent, attendance is tied to payment. Then you go to South Africa, where members are docked pay for unjustified absences. In this country, however, we reward absenteeism. We show the offenders and we pay them to stay away. So, fellow Ghanaians, the Speaker's latest warning must not be empty rhetoric. If Alban Bagbin truly believes in the sanctity of Parliament, like he has always done and professed, he must act decisively because the law gives him power to do certain things. Because when a member of Parliament misses sittings for 15 days without his permission, he can go and declare it vacant. He does not need another debate or report or the thing that leads to political outrage. He simply needs the courage to do so, the courage to set an example. We need Alban Bagbin to enforce the law against even one prominent MP, and the message will be clear. If you do not show up, you do not deserve the privilege of representing the people. Parliament's absenteeism crisis is more than an institutional issue. It is a moral crisis. It speaks to a deeper decay in our public life, the normalization of irresponsibility. When lawmakers treat lawmaking as a side hustle, then this democracy itself will begin to rot. And when people lose faith in the legislature, they lose faith in the entirety of the democracy, the republic. Well, some MPs will argue that they are busy attending to constituency matters or committee work. But those explanations are not enough. The Constitution provides clear guidelines for permission, and the Speaker's office exists to grant such leave formally, and it happens every now and then. There is no excuse for dereliction of duty. Parliament is not a club, it is a workplace. The nation does not pay MPs to do as they please. It is often said that a country's parliament reflects its people. If that is true, then absenteeism in parliament is a mirror of our national malaise, the culture of cutting corners, of taking public responsibility very lightly, of doing the bare minimum and expecting maximum reward. But leadership must be different. The moral standard for lawmakers must be higher. The taxpayer, you and I, deserve no less. Ghana's parliament has in recent years done quite well to expand its reach through television, social media, streaming. You can follow proceedings. The proceedings are broadcast live, which allows citizens to see for themselves what happens on the floor. But that transparency has also exposed the depth of the problem. Too many empty seats, too many absentee MPs, too much indifference to the public good. If we are to restore dignity to the legislature, we must begin by enforcing attendance. There should be a public attendance register where every one of us can go on there, updated weekly and published on Parliament's website. This way, constituents will be able to see how often their MPs show up. Attendance should be tied to pay. I work here. If I miss so many working days, I don't get my salary. Why should that be different for MPs? You miss sittings without valid reason, you lose a portion of your salary or your allowance. Nothing motivates accountability better than linking it to what people care about the most, their pay. Beyond enforcement, fellow Ghanaians, there must also be a shift in culture. Public office must once again mean service, not status. When citizens see their MPs, their representatives, taking their duties seriously, they too will regain faith in governance. But when they see Parliament almost always half empty, it reinforces the cynical belief that politics is a business, not a calling. So, fellow Ghanaians, the empty seats in Parliament are not just furniture. They are symbols of what we have become, neglect. Each empty chair represents a constituency that keeps or that gets no voice in Parliament when these matters are discussed in national affairs. A voter whose trust has been betrayed. When MPs abandon the chamber, they are not absent from work. They are absent from duty, absent from accountability, and absent from the people. Speaker Bagbin is right. Ghanaians are angry, and they have every right to be. The people of this country deserve a parliament that makes or that works, not one that is always empty, that just merely exists. They deserve a parliament of representatives who show up to work and represent their very interests, not just for the cameras on ceremonial days, but when the real work must be done, the difficult, unglamorous work of delete and insert, when Parliament is always empty. If Parliament continues to look the other way, and it continues to look like a ghost town, then the Speaker would have to act. We must enforce the Constitution, declare seats vacant. Let there be by-elections. If there must be, let the people decide. Because we cannot keep electing people to go into the chamber and then they don't show up for work. Fellow Ghanaians, this week, we hope to see a different story. Ultimately, let those who want the title of honorable learn to earn it by working, by honoring their office, not just because they are members of Parliament or the Constitution says they must be so, or the signing orders. I'll see you again next week.